Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm going to take a brief moment to talk through posting an issue brief onto Public Lab. So an issue brief is a post that talks about an environmental issue when you're coming from the getting started standpoint. So it's really intended to be for people who don't know a lot about the environmental issue or don't have a lot of information about it and are looking to gather resources and talk to people about the issue. So it's really about the first initial way to share what you know about the who, what, where, and why of the environmental concern. This page is helpful in walking through what an issue brief is and how to post one. I'm going to just briefly scroll through and talk a little bit about what's here before we work on drafting one. So you can see what posting an issue brief would do, where it would be shared, how people contribute to it once it's posted. And there's also a spot here to talk about if you're looking for help in sharing about an environmental issue or posting in general to Public Lab. There's a weekly live call you can join to get on the line with people who can help you through this process. Some other things that are on this page are some issue briefs that people have posted to Public Lab. There are also activities on here about issue briefs. So if you're looking to draft one with a group and post together, there's a workshop on how to do that, and one on how to explore issue briefs with others. So if you're interested in looking through issue briefs that are on Public Lab and thinking about how to answer to them with some other people, this is a good workshop too. This bottom of the page just gives you some example issue briefs, and these are in long form, so this isn't how one will look once you've posted it, but it's just sort of here to help give some examples and hopefully give you some ideas of what you might consider including in your issue brief. So there's one here on a petroleum coke in Houston, one about landfill expansion. So just generally, what are people using issue briefs for sharing? Great. Back on top of the page, you'll see this little button that says Post an Issue Brief. And this, if you go to this, you have to have a login on Public Lab to do this first. So if you're not logged in, you'll see so on the top right-hand corner, and you'll be prompted to create a login. And go ahead and do that if you haven't, and then you can post to Public Lab. So this is a general issue brief template that we'll post to Public Lab. On the top here, you can give your issue a name. This is the title of the post that you're making. If you would like to drag and drop or upload images, you can do so here. You can add your location if you're interested in sharing where you're talking about. And then this is the meat of it. This is what would come up in the text of the issue brief. These little symbols right here indicate a header. So we have a template here, and the idea is to replace the information that's within some of the text of the template, and that then becomes your issue brief. So, okay, we have an introduction, and then it says replace this text with some context for the issue brief that you're sharing. So you would quite literally replace this text with information that you'd like to share. And then similarly here in all these other spots, we're just replacing this text as well with your own words. And keep in mind that all of these are just prompts. If there are other headers that you would like to use, or if you want to get rid of one in general, if you don't find it useful, just go ahead and delete it, or go ahead and replace the text for the header and call it something your own. You can also add your own header in by just following that format there. That'll give it a header, and then you would put the name of your header right here, and then the text below it would be what follows. Great. So up until this point right here, below this line that I'm drawing right now, that's what you would do for all of this information. Don't worry about making it too detailed. Don't worry about having all the answers to all the questions. Like I was saying before, the issue brief is really a great post for someone who doesn't have all the answers, who is coming with a concern and doesn't know where to get started, or is looking for some advice or feedback from other people on what directions could be good to go. If you have a fully fleshed out idea and project and you're beyond this stage, you can visit the publiclab.org/projects page to create a project page on Public Lab where you can flesh out all that information and is a bit more of an interactive space around your project. But when you're getting started, this is a good place to go. Okay, great. So up until this line, we're really just adding in some text above here. And then below, in this last spot here, is a little bit more confusing. And if this is beyond you and you're not interested in this formatting, that's totally fine. Again, you can delete this. But what this bottom part here is working to make your issue brief a little bit smart. So it's telling you to create a tag name that will be unique to your project. And by tag name, we just simply mean any word or series of words with hyphens or underscores, no spaces, that can be unique to your project. So, for example, we just saw one about biosolids in Pennsylvania. So I might take my replace this tag name, where we're replacing the text with something unique to my project. So biosolids PA. Okay, so that's my unique tag name. So then what this basically does is say I've done that, I'm going to delete this text. Now I have a little smart spot on my issue brief. And what it looks like is, here's an example issue brief. Very simple. Someone's just posting about a project, about growing kelp, their main concern, obstacles, basic, what we've just seen. But that smart text creates this little spot right here. It creates the option for people to ask you a question and help you either flesh out about this or create more information about it or share back. So I'm going to just show you what this looks like by posting a question to this issue brief. So I'm interested in this question. Can kelp act as a bioremediator? And then I just provide a little bit more information. I recently read an issue brief about kelp in New York, and I was wondering, more about this. Great. Okay, so now that I've showed up on your issue brief with this question, the way it's going to show up back is because of these little tags, because I clicked that little button, and now I can click this ask button right here. And since I've done that, my question is going to show up on Public Lab and it's also going to show up on that issue brief. So let me just go back to the issue brief posts. And I'm going to find the one that's on kelp. And then you'll see, oh look, my question from Stevie has shown up about my project. So the author of this will get a ping that I've asked a question about this. And that's one way that people can interact with your research note if you were to use that little questions box at the bottom. Again, feel free to delete that if you'd like to not use it. There are other ways people can interact with your issue brief. For example, you'll see down here people are sharing comments and posting ideas about this project anyway. So great, that's a good way to get started and start thinking about posting an issue brief to Public Lab. Again, if you have any questions or you're finding obstacles in the process of posting, please jump on an open call with us or post a question to Public Lab about the issue that you're having. And you can follow the open call. You can join the open call page by just simply typing in open call, as this is the homepage for the open call. But the information about this lives on the attend an event drop down. All right, that's all we have for right now. Thanks so much.